How would you react if a homeless man approached you asking for $1? What if that person was Barron Trump? This story will leave you speechless. What seemed like a simple moment of kindness turned into something far greater. It happened on the corner of Broad Cedar Road and 12th Avenue in Akron, Ohio. Amidst the chaos of honking cars and bustling pedestrians, a man named Martin sat slumped against the wall of an old convenience store. His cardboard sign simply read, "Anything helps, God bless." Martin, 45, had been living on the streets for almost a year. Life had stripped him of everything, leaving him with little more than the layers of clothing barely protecting him from the bitter cold. Most people rushed past him without a second glance. Today, he wasn't expecting anything different. Then, Martin noticed something unusual. A pair of spotless white sneakers. They stopped a few feet away, standing out against the gritty sidewalk. Martin glanced up and saw a tall teenager with a calm, composed demeanor, scrolling on his phone. The boy's expensive sneakers and sleek jacket screamed privilege. But there was something different about his presence. He wasn't rushing or ignoring the world around him. Martin hesitated, but decided to speak up. "Hey, young man," he called out with a faint smile. "Can you spare $1?" The teenager paused mid-scroll. Slowly, he turned toward Martin, his expression thoughtful. Instead of ignoring him or brushing him off, he asked, "What do you need it for?" The question caught Martin off guard. It wasn't dismissive. It felt genuine. "A cup of coffee? Maybe a sandwich if I'm lucky," Martin said quietly, rubbing his hands to stay warm. The boy stepped closer, slipping his phone into his pocket. "What's your name?" he asked. "Martin," he replied, barely above a whisper. "I'm Barron," the boy said simply and sincerely. No arrogance, no judgment, just a quiet confidence. For a moment, Martin felt the stares of onlookers around him, their silent judgment hanging in the air. Yet, Barron stood there, calm and focused, as if the rest of the world had disappeared. Martin had no idea what would happen next, but he could sense this was no ordinary encounter. Most people just walked by Martin, avoiding his gaze or tossing him loose change without a word. But here was Barron, not just stopping, but engaging him as an equal. Something quite unexpected happened next. Barron crouched down to meet Martin at eye level, a gesture that took Martin by surprise. Nobody had ever done that before. "How long have you been out here?" Barron asked. Martin hesitated. People usually didn't care about his backstory. They only noticed his misfortune. But Barron's genuine demeanor disarmed him. "Almost a year now," Martin admitted. "Lost my job after the plant shut down, then my health took a turn. Couldn't keep up with rent." He paused, the weight of his words sinking in. "It's been downhill ever since." Barron listened intently, his focus not judgmental but filled with a mix of curiosity and concern, a look Martin wasn't accustomed to. Around them, the crowd's murmurs grew. People whispered, drawn by the unusual sight of the young Trump heir engaging so sincerely with the homeless man. "What about family?" Barron asked next. Martin's face tightened. "Don't have much of that anymore. My folks passed years ago, and my brother, we haven't talked in ages." He chuckled bitterly. "Not much left to lose when you've already lost it all." Barron was silent for a moment, contemplating Martin's situation. Then, reaching into his pocket, he pulled out something unexpected. Not $1, but a crisp $100 bill. Martin blinked in disbelief. "Here," Barron said, handing him the money. "This should cover more than just coffee." Stunned, Martin could barely move. It wasn't just the amount, it was the whole gesture. "Are you serious?" He finally managed, his voice cracking. Barron shrugged simply. "Because I can." But he leaned in closer, his voice softer. "Listen," he added, "this isn't just about the money. I want you to promise me something." "What's that?" Martin asked, gripping the bill as it might disappear. "If I help you today, you've got to help yourself tomorrow. Deal?" The words hit Martin hard. For the first time in ages, someone who wasn't just offering him help. They were challenging him to change his path. Overwhelmed, he nodded. "Good," Barron said, standing up. He glanced at the onlookers, his calm unshaken by their stares. Martin felt a mix of gratitude and embarrassment as he saw people recording the moment. Barron then pulled out a pen and notepad, quickly jotting something down. He handed Martin a torn piece of paper. "Go to this address tomorrow morning. They'll help you out. Tell them Barron sent you." It was a local shelter and resource center, a place Martin knew of but had never visited out of pride or shame. "I'll make sure they're expecting you," Barron added, his tone firm. Martin stared at the $100 bill and note as if they were treasure from another world. Barron stood watching, expecting an acknowledgement or commitment. "Why do you care? You don't know me," Martin asked. "Everyone has a story, Martin. Yours just hasn't been told yet," Barron replied. If I'm in a position to do something good, why wouldn't I? Despite his skepticism, Martin felt the sincerity in Barron's tone. You don't owe me anything, he stated. People don't just help without expecting something in return. I don't expect anything, but small actions can lead to big changes, Barron said, pointing to the note. They've got resources at that place, job programs, counseling. All I'm asking is that you show up. What if I can't do it? What if I screw it up? Martin's skepticism lingered. Everyone screws up, but giving up, that's the only way you lose, Barron responded. As the crowd around them thickened, whispers of, "Is that Barron Trump?" filled the air. Martin felt uneasy under the scrutiny, but Barron remained calm. Ignore them, Barron advised. This is about you and me. No one else matters. Martin agreed. I'll go. I'll show up. That's all I wanted to hear, Barron said. You've got more strength in you than you realize. Overwhelmed by gratitude, Martin nodded, holding the note tightly. As Barron left, Martin felt a flicker of hope. He stood outside the New Beginnings Support Center the next morning, the address and the $100 bill in his pocket. The warmth of the building and the welcoming smile of the receptionist contrasted sharply with the cold he had endured. How can I help you today? The receptionist asked. Barron sent me. Said I should come here, Martin responded, handing over the note. Ah, you must be Martin. We've been expecting you, she said, recognizing the name. Let's get you started. Martin followed her, ready to take the first steps towards a new life. At the New Beginning Support Center, Martin found immediate support. They set him up with a temporary bed, arranged a doctor's appointment to address his health issues, and connected him with a job training program. For the first time in years, Martin felt like his life was coming back together. That evening, as he sat on his cot, for the first time, Martin believed change was possible. Outside the shelter, the impact of Barron's gesture was unfolding in ways neither of them could have predicted. A video of their interaction had gone viral overnight, sparking a national conversation. The footage, showing Barron's act of generosity, attracted mixed reactions, some skeptical, calling it a publicity stunt, while others saw it as a genuine act of compassion from someone with privilege. Amid the debates, the video inspired a wave of support for the New Beginning Support Center, with people from all walks of life reaching out to offer donations and support. Meanwhile, Martin focused on his recovery, attending counseling sessions, applying for jobs, and slowly rebuilding his self-belief. As news of his story spread, Martin learned about the viral video. Watching it, he experienced a mix of embarrassment and gratitude, barely recognizing the defeated man he once was. While the public dissected Barron's motives, the young Trump heir stayed out of the limelight, focusing instead on supporting the shelter quietly. His initial act led to substantial donations that expanded the shelter's capacity to help others. The ripple effects of the video were profound. Inspired by Barron's example, people started sharing their own acts of kindness. One evening, amid the changing tides, Martin's personal journey took a surprising turn. In the shelter's common room, he was approached by a man who looked familiar. It was Peter, his estranged brother. The video had reached Peter, prompting him to reconnect after a decade apart. Their reunion was emotional. This reconnection was another step in Martin's healing process, mending not just his circumstances, but also his relationships and self-worth. As Martin moved forward, he no longer saw his life as a series of misfortunes, but as a testament to resilience, spurred by the unexpected kindness of a stranger who gave him more than just money. He gave him a new beginning.